Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking Stop Wasting £1,000 on Home Security, Avoid These Costly UK Homeowner Mistakes today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like Comprehensive Home Security Cost Calculator and Detailed Home Security Cost Calculator so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving into something that, honestly keeps me up at night sometimes. You know how you think you're doing the right thing, protecting your home, and then you find out you've basically been throwing money into a black hole? Assad, please tell me I'm not the only one who finds this whole security thing completely overwhelming.
Oh God, no, you're definitely not alone. I mean, we're talking about a 2.6 billion market here in the UK. And yet, look, I see this all the time. People spending thousands, literally thousands, on systems that either don't work properly or they're paying for stuff they don't even need. It's kind of maddening, actually.
Thousands? Okay, wait.
Yeah, I know, it sounds mad. But there's this story, right? Sarah from Birmingham. She spent £1,200 on what she thought was this brilliant top-of-the-range system. Sounds good so far?
I mean, yeah, that's a decent chunk of change, but if it works,
Right, exactly, if it works. But then she discovers the monthly monitoring fees are going to add another £1,080 over 3 years. So now we're over 2 grand already.
Jesus.
But here's the kicker. When she actually had someone try to break in, the police didn't respond at all.
Wait, what? Why?
Her installer wasn't properly accredited. So all that money, and when it actually mattered, nothing. The police they won't come unless the installer has the right certification.
I had no idea that was even a thing. Like, you assume if you have an alarm going off, the police would.
You think, right? But no. And this is so common, Angela. People get dazzled by all the bells and whistles, the fancy cameras with facial recognition or whatever, and they completely miss these boring but crucial things that actually determine if the system works and how much it's really going to cost you.
So it's not just about the price tag on the box.
God, no. Look, you see a system advertised for £399 and think, bargain, yeah? But then installation's another £100 to £500. Monitoring is $15 to $45 every single month.
Hang on, let me do the maths. That's up to $1,620 just for monitoring over 3 years?
Yep. So your 399 system is suddenly pushing $2,000. And we haven't even talked about the really cheeky stuff yet.
Oh, God, what else?
Annual maintenance contracts. That's another $75 to $150. And this one really gets me. Some companies charge you to replace batteries in the wireless sensors, like $10 to $15 per sensor. If you've got 10 sensors around your house,
That's another $150 for batteries? You're kidding me.
I wish I was. And they don't mention any of this when they're doing their sales pitch, do they?
Of course not. Right. What about the contracts? Because I've heard some absolute horror stories about people trying to get out of security contracts.
Oh, the contracts there's something else. Most of them lock you in for 12 to 36 months, which, okay, fine. But if you need to get out early, maybe you're moving house, maybe the service is rubbish, you have to pay the remaining balance in full.
In full, even if you're not using it?
Even if you're not using it. And here's the really sneaky bit. They auto-renew unless you give notice in this tiny window, usually 30 to 60 days before it ends. Miss it by 1 day.
You're stuck for another year.
Exactly, another whole year. It's all buried in, page 47 of the contract that nobody reads.
Brilliant. And I'm guessing there's more bad news about the actual equipment?
Well, have you ever wondered if you actually own the equipment after paying for it?
I mean, I'd assume if I'm paying for it, it's mine.
You'd think. But with some companies, especially the ones offering free installation, you're basically just renting it. So after paying them for years, if you cancel, they can demand all the equipment back.
No.
Yeah, you're left with holes in your walls and no security system. Or they'll offer to sell it to you for some ridiculous price. Or, and this is my favorite, they just remotely disable it.
They can do that? Just switch it off?
Oh yeah, your expensive security system becomes a very boring wall decoration.
That's actually outrageous. Okay, so beyond all these contract nightmares, what about choosing the right system in the first place? Because I imagine a flat in London has pretty different needs to, say, a big house in the countryside.
Completely different. And this is where people waste so much money. Like, take a terraced house, right? Your main weak points are the front and back doors, maybe a few windows that are actually accessible from the street. So you need good door sensors, some strategic window sensors, motion detectors for the hallway and stairs. But I see people installing expensive glass break sensors on every single window, cameras covering every possible angle.
When actually, burglars aren't going to bother with those windows anyway.
Exactly. You're literally paying to protect areas that don't need protecting. Now, a detached house with a garden, that's totally different. You need to think about the perimeter, external motion sensors, decent lighting, and sheds. People forget about sheds.
Sheds?
Think about it. You've probably got, what, a lawnmower worth 500 pounds, power tools, bikes? A basic door sensor on your shed costs $20 and could save you hundreds.
Huh, never thought about it like that. But then I've also seen these systems with facial recognition and AI and all sorts. Do you actually need all that?
Oh, the AI thing? Look, it's impressive in the showroom when they demonstrate how it can tell the difference between a cat and a burglar or whatever. But honestly, most people would be fine with basic motion-activated recording. Are you really going to sit there reviewing footage from 8 different 4K cameras?
God, no. I can barely keep up with my emails.
Right? 2 or 3 well-placed HD cameras would do the job for most of us. But they use fear to sell this stuff. They'll paint these scenarios where you need to identify someone from 50 meters away at night, when actually your front garden is about 3 meters long.
So it's about finding that middle ground. Not too basic, not too fancy.
Yeah, because going too basic is just as bad. I mean, a dummy alarm box and one door sensor might save you 500 pounds, but it's basically useless. No insurance discount, no evidence if something happens, no real deterrent. You need that sweet spot, proper coverage where it matters without all the redundant stuff.
Right. And I'm guessing things like pets make it more complicated?
Oh God, pets are a nightmare for security systems. Standard motion detectors will go off every time your cat jumps on the sofa. So you need pet immune sensors, which cost more, and even then, I mean, they might ignore a person crawling on the floor because they think it's your dog.
Brilliant. So the burglar just needs to crawl?
Basically. And if you live near a busy road or railway, the vibrations can set off false alarms constantly. After the third false alarm at 3 a.m., you'll probably just turn the thing off, and then what's the point?
None whatsoever. Now, going back to that police response thing, because that really shocked me, can you explain more about this accreditation business?
Yeah, look, it's absolutely critical and nobody talks about it. Without proper accreditation, the police simply won't respond to your alarm. They need evidence beyond just the alarm going off, like someone actually seeing the break-in or CCTV footage.
So what accreditation do you need?
Your installer needs to be NSI or SSIAB accredited, not just a member, properly accredited for the type of system they're installing. The system itself needs to meet standards like PD 6662 or BS 8243. Most homes need at least grade 2.
This is so much more complicated than I thought.
And it gets worse. You need to register your alarm with the police, get a URN, that's a unique reference number, which involves annual fees of around 30–40 pounds. And if you have 3 false alarms in 12 months, they withdraw police response permanently.
Permanently?
Permanently. Getting it reinstated is a complete nightmare. More fees, appeals, the works.
Christ. And I'm guessing insurance companies have their own requirements too?
Oh, yeah. They want systems installed to BSEN 50131 standards by NSI or SSAIB approved companies. If your house is worth over £500,000, you might need Grade 3. Plus, annual inspections by accredited engineers, another $75 to $150 each time.
Every year?
Every year. And if you don't maintain it properly, they can invalidate your insurance, not just for theft, for everything. They'll argue you misrepresented your security arrangements.
That's terrifying. What about wireless versus wired systems? Because wireless seems so much easier.
It does seem easier, doesn't it? And cheaper up front. But battery replacements alone cost $100 to $150 every 2 to 3 years, and they're vulnerable to interference. Criminals can buy jammers online that'll disable your whole system.
Jammers? Like they just switch off your alarm?
Pretty much. Even without criminals, you can get interference from other devices, your neighbor's system, whatever. Wired systems cost maybe $200 to $500 more to install, but they're rock solid. No batteries, no interference, and they'll last 10 to 15 years instead of needing replacement after 5 to 7.
So it's worth the extra upfront cost.
Usually, yeah. Unless you're renting or planning to move soon, then maybe wireless makes sense.
Right. And what about all these smart home features? Because everything seems to be smart these days.
Oh, don't get me started on smart home integration. It's sold as this seamless thing where everything talks to everything else. Reality? Your $150 smart doorbell probably won't work with your $800 alarm system. Your smart locks need a different app. Before you know it, you're juggling 5 different apps
Just to see who's at your door. Yeah, I've been there.
And even when things can technically work together, you need extra hubs and bridges. That's another $50 to $100 each, plus maybe subscription services at $5 to $10 a month per service. It adds up fast.
Plus the privacy stuff, right? All your footage going to the cloud?
Exactly. Your cameras are constantly uploading footage of your family, your routines, who visits you, and you have no idea who's really looking at it. These companies say it's secure, but there have been breaches, major ones.
That's unsettling.
And the terms of service, I mean, nobody reads them, but they often say they can share your data with partners or use it to train AI. Some companies are based outside the UK, so GDPR doesn't even apply. If they get bought out, your data is just part of the deal.
Bloody hell. Okay, so what about DIY installation? Because that must save money, right?
You'd think so. And yeah, you might save $300 to $500 on installation. But, and it's a big but, it's never as simple as they make it look. What seems like a weekend project turns into weeks of fiddling around, trying to figure out why that sensor keeps going off at 3 a.m.
Speaking from experience?
Maybe. Look, positioning sensors properly is actually quite technical. You need to avoid false alarms, but still cover all the vulnerable spots. Running cables neatly, programming everything correctly, it takes experience. And when something goes wrong, you're on your own.
No tech support?
Oh, there's tech support, but they'll just tell you to check the manual or restart the system. They won't come out and fix it. And there are legal issues too. External cameras have to comply with privacy laws. You can't just point them wherever. Get it wrong, and you could face fines up to £100,000.
100 grand? For a camera?
If you're seriously breaching privacy laws, yeah. And any electrical work needs Part P certification. Do it yourself without qualification, and your insurance could be void. If there's a fire and they trace it back to your DIY wiring,
They won't pay out.
they won't pay out. So even if you buy DIY equipment, maybe get a professional to install it. Many independent installers will fit customer-supplied kit for a reasonable fee.
That's actually really good advice. Assad, this has been, honestly, a bit overwhelming, but incredibly eye-opening. For anyone listening who's thinking about home security, what are the absolute key things they need to remember?
Right, okay. First thing, Always, and I mean always, get a complete breakdown of all costs over 3 years. Not just the equipment, but installation, monitoring, maintenance, batteries, everything. If they won't give you that, walk away.
Walk away. Got it.
Second, check the installer's accreditation, NSI or SSAIB. Without it, no police response, possibly no insurance coverage. It's non-negotiable.
Even if they say they're affiliated or whatever?
Especially then, affiliated means nothing. You need proper accreditation. Third thing, and this is important, choose a system that actually fits your property. Don't get sold on features you'll never use. Walk around your house, identify the real vulnerable points, focus your money there.
Not the fancy AI doorbell that can tell if someone's wearing a hat.
Exactly. And finally, understand what you're signing. Who owns the equipment? What are the contract terms? Can you get out if you need to? Get it in writing. Verbal promises mean nothing when there's a dispute.
This has been absolutely brilliant, Assad. I think you've just saved our listeners thousands of pounds and a lot of headaches.
I hope so. It's just, there are so many good security options out there, but the industry makes it so complicated. You shouldn't need a degree to protect your home properly, you know?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for breaking it all down for us. This has been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure, Angela. Honestly, if people just avoid these main pitfalls, they'll be so much better off.
Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially optimizing home energy efficiency with weather-aware planning, understanding your energy bill breakdown, and cutting laundry and drying costs using weather and energy data.
Exactly. And reading those together gives you a fuller picture of safety, energy costs, and long-term affordability before you choose a postcode.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Comprehensive Home Security Cost Calculator and Detailed Home Security Cost Calculator right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include crime statistics and maps, police.uk, and home security guidance secured by design, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone house hunting so they make safer and smarter money decisions.
Your next step is simple. Try Comprehensive Home Security Cost Calculator, then read Optimizing Home Energy Efficiency with Weather-Aware Planning, and use both together before committing to a move.